Well, first of all, thanks a lot, Kaya, for all your words and for our cooperation in drafting white paper. Of course, also thanks and gratitude to all our teams and services. There was a lot of job to be done. So thanks to everybody. On this occasion, I would like to stress also the role of the Commission President. President von der Leyen, from the very beginning of this mandate, made defense a clear priority for this Commission. And just yesterday, she repeated in Copenhagen the essence of what all of us need to do. I quote, "If Europe wants to avoid war, Europe must get ready for war." End of quote. As you remember, intelligence services, for example, of Germany and Denmark, recently publicly announced that, according to their knowledge, Kremlin is preparing to test NATO Article 5 before 2030. That is why we need to have a roadmap for Readiness 2030. Because we need to act big. And those are also the words of President von der Leyen. There are 4 key priorities in the white paper. For us, we can call it the roadmap to Readiness 2030. I will not go very much into detail, but simply just to remind you what the white paper is about. First of all, surge in defense spending. Creation of opportunity for member states to reach 3.5% of GDP defense spending. Second, closing capability gaps. Not only having in mind wars of today, but also having in mind wars of tomorrow. It includes massive production of the same, as some experts are saying, also development of strategic enablers, where we have a lot of dependencies, and also implementation of defense projects of common European interest, also related with disruptive technologies. Third, increasing support to Ukraine. What, again, quoting Commission President, we can say this is still porcupine strategy. And rearm Europe gives all the member states new possibilities to strengthen our support to Ukraine. And the fourth, strengthening Europe's defense industrial base, overcoming fragmentation, pushing for more of European investment, collaborative procurement, and really we need to understand that the defense industry is a strategic resource for defense, which sometimes we need to remind ourselves why we need to invest European. And of course, very important job in order for defense industry to move ahead will be with simplification omnibus, which we need to present in June. And now we are getting a lot of input from different member states and industries about the problems which they are facing, including with too much of bureaucracy, too much of regulation, sometimes misunderstanding with the interpretation of some existing regulations, for example, related with the green transition, and that is what we shall need to clarify and to make all the possibilities for defense industry to expand without any obstacles. In short, this is what white paper is about. But for me, this white paper is also the end of 100 days of reflection, very intensive days of reflection, with very valuable input from the majority of member states, a huge number of seminars and conferences, individual meetings with prime ministers, ministers, parliamentarians, defense and space industry leaders, experts and associations. This process of preparation of white paper and also the geopolitical developments around us brought us to a clear convergence of our views on what we need to do with our defense capabilities in Europe. This is how this roadmap to 2030 was born, which is just a beginning of the road, and not an easy one. Today is not only the end of an initial period of reflection, it's also the start of joint action to mobilize Europe's industrial and economic might to deter aggression and prevent war. That is why from now on our priority is implementation, implementation, implementation. Putin will not be deterred if we shall read the white paper to him. He will be deterred if we shall turn the white paper into action. and if we shall use it to build very real drones, tanks, artillery for our defense. That is our ambition, to deter Putin with clear evidence that we are not only strong in our economy, but also that we are stronger with our democratic political will and our defense capabilities. That is why implementation is so crucial. It is absolutely clear that to begin implementing Readiness 2030, we need a surge in defense spending. The SAFE proposal the College adopted today is crucial for building up our defense industry and making sure Member States have the weapons they need. Member States must join forces with other Member States, European Union, EAA countries and Ukraine, and they will be having possibilities to procure from European industries. And this proposal, what is again very important, fully integrate Ukraine, both as a supplier and as a participant of procurement. And it will create totally new possibilities for Member States to surge their support to Ukraine. And with a communication on defense expenditure within the Growth and Stability Pact, which we adopted also today, we propose greater flexibility on the national escape clause for defense spending. 1.5% of GDP for defense will be excluded from deficit calculation. And in conclusion, we need to remember two basic principles when we are talking about defense. First, defense is a collective good. The defense readiness of individual member states is an expression of the basic European value of solidarity. Our security depends on our ability to implement collective defense. Collective defense can only be effective if all member states invest into appropriate development of their national defense capabilities. Without this kind of investment, defense of other countries is weakening. And second, 450 million European Union citizens should not have to depend on 340 million Americans to defend ourselves against 140 million Russians who cannot defeat 38 million Ukrainians. We really can do better. It's time for us to take responsibility for the defense of Europe. Thanks a lot.